She was 15 when she gave him up for adoption, but spent 16 years searching. Steve Harvey's surprise reunion will destroy you emotionally and prove that a mother's love never dies, even when she has to let go. It was October 2022, and 31-year-old Maria Santos sat in her small apartment in San Antonio, Texas, staring at the same computer screen she had been checking every day for the past 16 years. She was scrolling through social media posts, adoption reunion websites, and missing persons databases, looking for any trace of the baby boy she had given birth to when she was just 15 years old. On her desk sat a worn baby blanket, the only thing she had left from her son's first days of life. Next to it was a composition notebook filled with letters she had written to him over the years. Dear letters she hoped to give him someday, if she ever found him. Happy 16th birthday, Mijo, Maria whispered, looking at a calendar that showed October 15th. Wherever you are, I hope you're happy and loved. Maria had been searching for her son Gabriel since the day she signed the adoption papers 16 years ago. What had started as the most difficult decision of her teenage life had become the driving force of her entire adulthood. The story began in 2006, when Maria was a sophomore in high school, in a small town outside of San Antonio. She was a good student from a religious family, but like many teenagers, she had made choices that would change her life forever. When Maria discovered she was pregnant at 14, her world collapsed. Her boyfriend, also a teenager, disappeared the moment she told him about the baby. Her parents, devout Catholics, who were already struggling financially with 4 other children, were devastated and ashamed. Maria, we can't support another child, her father had said through tears. We can barely feed the family we have. But we can't ask you to raise a baby when you're still a baby yourself, her mother had added. For months, Maria's family debated what to do. Abortion was not an option for their religious beliefs, and keeping the baby seemed impossible given their circumstances. Finally, they made contact with Catholic Charities, who connected them with a couple who had been waiting years for a child. John and Susan Mitchell were a middle-class couple from Austin, who had struggled with infertility for 8 years. They were in their early 30s, financially stable, and desperate to become parents. Maria, the social worker, had explained, the Mitchells have so much love to give a child. They've been approved for adoption, they have a beautiful home, and they can provide opportunities that might be difficult for you at your age. Maria had met the Mitchells once during her pregnancy. They were kind, gentle people who promised to love her baby as their own, and to tell him about his birth mother when he was old enough to understand. We'll make sure he knows how much you love him, Susan had promised, tears in her eyes. We'll tell him that you made the ultimate sacrifice because you wanted what was best for him. When Gabriel was born on October 15, 2006, Maria held him for exactly 2 hours. She memorized his tiny fingers, his soft baby hair, and the way he looked at her with wide, dark eyes that reminded her of her own. I love you so much, she had whispered to him. I'm not giving you away because I don't want you. I'm giving you away because I want you to have everything I can't give you. She had wrapped him in a blue blanket that her grandmother had crocheted and kissed his forehead one final time before placing him in Susan Mitchell's arms. Take care of my baby, Maria had said. Please take care of my baby. The adoption was supposed to be closed, meaning no contact between birth and adoptive families. But Maria had made one request that the social worker had promised to honor. If Gabriel ever wanted to find his birth mother, they would help make that happen. For the first few years after the adoption, Maria tried to move on with her life. She finished high school, started college, and tried to convince herself that she had made the right choice. But every October 15th, she found herself wondering what Gabriel looked like, what he was interested in, and whether he was happy. By the time Gabriel turned 5, Maria had started actively searching for information about his adoptive family. She knew their first names and that they lived in Austin, but closed adoption records made it nearly impossible to find more details. Maria spent her weekends driving to Austin, hoping to catch a glimpse of a little boy who might be her son. She would sit outside elementary schools, playgrounds, and family restaurants, looking for a child with her dark hair and eyes who would be the right age. Maria, this isn't healthy, her sister Carmen would tell her. You're torturing yourself. You gave him up so he could have a better life. Let him have that life. I know he's better off with them, Maria would reply. I just need to know he's okay. I just need to see him once, from a distance, to know he's happy. As Gabriel got older, Maria's searches became more sophisticated. She learned to use social media, adoption reunion websites, and DNA testing services. She created profiles on every platform she could find, always with the same message: looking for son born October 15, 2006, in San Antonio. Birth mother wants to make contact. Meanwhile, 150 miles away in Austin, 16-year-old Gabriel Mitchell was struggling with his own questions about his identity. His adoptive parents, John and Susan, had always been honest about his adoption. They had told him he was chosen, loved, and wanted by both his birth mother and his adoptive family. But as Gabriel entered his teenage years, the questions became harder to ignore. Who did he look like? Where did his artistic talent come from? Did he have siblings? What were the circumstances that led to his adoption? Mom, Dad, Gabriel said one evening at dinner, I want to know more about my birth mother. John and Susan exchanged glances. They had always known this day would come, and they had prepared for it as much as any adoptive parent can. What would you like to know? Susan asked gently. Everything. I want to know her name, what she was like, why she chose adoption. I want to know if she ever thinks about me. John leaned forward. Gabriel, your birth mother was very young when she had you. She was still in high school. The social worker told us that it was the hardest decision she ever made, but she wanted you to have opportunities she couldn't provide. Do you know her name? Maria. Her name was Maria. That night, Gabriel began his own search. Using the limited information he had, he started looking through social media and adoption websites for any trace of a woman named Maria who might be his birth mother. What Gabriel didn't know was that Maria had been posting on the exact same websites, often just hours before or after his own searches. The breakthrough came when Gabriel's best friend, Tyler, suggested they watch the Steve Harvey show. My mom says Steve Harvey helps families all the time, Tyler said. Maybe he could help you find your birth mom. Gabriel was skeptical, but he decided to write a letter anyway. Dear Mr. Harvey, Gabriel wrote, I'm 16 years old, and I was adopted as a baby. I want to find my birth mother, but I only know her first name was Maria and that she was 15 when I was born in San Antonio in 2006. I know it's a long shot, but I was hoping you might be able to help me. I don't want to disrupt her life, but I want her to know that I'm okay and that I'm grateful for the choice she made. 6 weeks later, Gabriel received a call that would change his life. Gabriel, this is Janet Miller from the Steve Harvey Show. We received your letter about finding your birth mother, and we have some incredible news for you. Gabriel's heart started racing. You found her? We found her, Gabriel, and she's been looking for you too. What the show's research team had discovered was remarkable. Maria Santos had been posting about her son on adoption websites for years, and her story matched Gabriel's perfectly. When the producers contacted her, she had immediately started crying. My baby? She had said through tears. You found my Gabriel? Maria, he's been looking for you too. He's 16 now. He's healthy and happy, and he wants to meet you. Is he okay? Is he happy? Do his parents love him? Maria, he's more than okay, and his adoptive parents have done an amazing job raising him. He wants you to know that he's grateful for your sacrifice. 2 weeks later, Gabriel sat in the green room of the Steve Harvey Show, more nervous than he had ever been in his life. His adoptive parents, John and Susan, were with him, providing the support they had always given him. Gabriel, Steve said when he came to meet him before the show, I want you to know that what we're about to do is going to change your life. Mr. Harvey, what if she doesn't want to see me? What if she regrets having me? Son, let me tell you something about mothers. A mother doesn't search for her child for 16 years unless that child means everything to her. During the first part of the show, Steve interviewed Gabriel about his adoption story and his desire to find his birth mother. Gabriel, what do you want to say to your birth mother if you ever find her? Steve asked. I want to tell her thank you, Gabriel said. I want her to know that she made the right choice. My parents are amazing. I've had every opportunity, and I'm happy. I want her to know that her sacrifice wasn't for nothing. And what do you want to know about her? Everything. I want to know what she's like, what she's been doing for the past 16 years, and if she's okay. I want her to know that I don't blame her for anything. I understand why she made the choice she did." Steve nodded. "Gabriel, what if I told you that your birth mother has been thinking about you every single day for 16 years? Gabriel's eyes widened. "What do you mean? What if I told you that she's never stopped looking for you? That she's been searching adoption websites and social media, hoping to find you? Are you saying you found her?" Steve stood up with a smile. "Gabriel, your birth mother Maria Santos is here. She's been backstage crying happy tears since yesterday, and she's been waiting 16 years to hold you again." Gabriel stood up so fast he almost fell over. "She's here? My birth mother is really here. She's here, son. And Gabriel, she brought something for you." The audience held its breath as Steve called for Maria to come out. When Maria walked onto the stage, Gabriel saw himself reflected in another person for the first time in his life. They had the same dark hair, the same eyes, the same smile. Maria was small and nervous, carrying a worn baby blanket and a composition notebook. "Gabriel?" Maria whispered, looking at the young man who had grown from the baby she had held 16 years ago. "Mom?" Gabriel said, the word coming out naturally even though he had never used it for anyone other than Susan. They moved toward each other slowly, both crying, both afraid this moment might disappear if they moved too quickly. When they finally embraced, the audience erupted in tears and applause. Maria held Gabriel like she was afraid to let him go, and Gabriel held her like he was afraid she might disappear again. "I've thought about you every single day," Maria whispered through her tears. "I've been looking for you," Gabriel replied. "I wanted to thank you for giving me such an amazing life." They stayed in each other's arms for several minutes, while the audience cried and Steve wiped tears from his own eyes. When they finally separated, Maria handed Gabriel the baby blanket. "This is the blanket I wrapped you in the day you were born," she said. "I've kept it for 16 years, hoping someday I could give it back to you." Gabriel held the blanket to his face, breathing in the faint scent of the mother he had never known but had always missed. "And this," Maria said, giving him the composition notebook, "is every letter I wrote you over the years. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time I missed you so much I couldn't breathe. I wrote down everything I wanted to tell you." Gabriel opened the notebook and saw page after page of letters written in Spanish and English. "My dearest Gabriel," he read from the first page. "Today you turned 1, and I wonder if you took your first steps. I hope your mama and papa celebrated with you. I hope you know that somewhere your first mama is thinking of you and loving you." Gabriel looked up at Maria with tears streaming down his face. "You wrote to me every year, every birthday, every holiday. Every day I missed you too much to function. I wanted you to know that giving you up didn't mean I stopped being your mother in my heart." Steve asked Maria to share her story with the audience. "When Gabriel was born, I was 15 and scared," Maria said. "I couldn't give him the life he deserved, but letting him go was the hardest thing I've ever done. I held him for 2 hours, and then I spent 16 years wishing I could hold him again." "Maria, what did you want Gabriel to know?" "I wanted him to know that I didn't give him up because I didn't want him. I gave him up because I loved him more than my own life. I wanted him to have everything: a stable home, good parents, opportunities I couldn't give him. I wanted him to know that not a day went by that I didn't think about him and pray for his happiness." Steve turned to Gabriel. "How does it feel to finally meet your birth mother?" "It feels like finding a piece of myself I didn't know was missing," Gabriel said. "Looking at her is like looking in a mirror, but more than that, knowing that she never forgot me, that she's been looking for me all these years. It makes me feel complete." The most touching moment came when John and Susan Mitchell joined them on stage. "Maria," Susan said, walking over to embrace her, "we have wanted to thank you for 16 years. You gave us the greatest gift of our lives. And you gave him the life I couldn't," Maria replied through tears. "You've done an amazing job raising him. He's everything I hoped he would become." John added, "Maria, you will always be Gabriel's birth mother, and that makes you family to us. We hope you'll be part of his life going forward." 6 months later, Gabriel and Maria returned to the Steve Harvey Show for a follow-up that showed how their relationship had blossomed. "Gabriel, how has having Maria in your life changed you?" Steve asked. "It's completed me in a way I didn't know I needed," Gabriel said. "She's taught me about my heritage, my culture, and where I come from. But more than that, she's shown me what unconditional love looks like. Maria, how has it felt to be part of Gabriel's life? It's been the most healing 6 months of my life, Maria said. I got to watch him graduate high school. I got to meet his friends. I got to be his birth mother instead of just dreaming about being his birth mother. What's the relationship like now? Gabriel answered, she's not trying to replace my parents, and my parents aren't threatened by her. She's my birth mom, and she's family now. The most beautiful part of the follow-up was when Gabriel announced that he was planning to study social work in college, with the goal of helping other adoptees and birth families navigate reunion. Maria's courage in looking for me for 16 years, and my adoptive parents' support of our reunion, made me realize that I want to help other families find each other, Gabriel said. Today, Gabriel Mitchell Santos, he legally added his birth mother's name to his own, is a college sophomore studying social work. Maria has become close friends with John and Susan Mitchell, and they often spend holidays together as an extended family. Adoption doesn't have to be about loss, Maria often says when she speaks at adoption conferences. It can be about love multiplying. Gabriel has 2 sets of parents who love him, and we all love each other. Steve keeps a photo from their reunion on his desk. The moment when Maria and Gabriel embraced for the first time in 16 years, it reminds him daily that love is the strongest force in the universe, and that a mother's love never dies, even when she has to let go. If this incredible adoption reunion story moved you, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with someone who needs to know that love never stops searching, and that family bonds can survive any separation. Have you ever searched for someone you thought you'd lost forever? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to ring that notification bell for more amazing stories about the power of never giving up on the people you love.